Hey, good morning everyone, TrackMan44 here. This is going to be a little bit of a different video. I work on a whole bunch of different things, sometimes out of necessity. But at any rate, this is the wife's lawnmower. It's an old one. We've had it since '04. Bought it new. And it's had its issues in the past. I've had a number of things that's actually happened to the motor. Have been able to take care of them all along. Lost oil one time. She was able to shut it off, save the motor. Rocker arm blew off one time while I was running it. And it started knocking like a donkey in a tin barn, you know what I mean. Shut it down, went ahead and drug it over here and got lucky and made that repair. We had a problem with the engine setting out of square or out of plumb with the drive belts, which resulted in almost instantaneous throwing of one of the two drive belts. I got that rectified. There's just been little things just all along. Maybe if I did better maintenance, maybe that kind of stuff would be a little less prevalent, I guess, so to speak. When you mess with old equipment, old tractors like I do, you always got to keep your ear on what the heck's going on. You always got to listen for that little rattle or this little noise that wasn't there yesterday or 10 minutes ago. I was using this the other day, warming it up for the missus, and I noticed there was a new rattle. Got off and looked. I've got an idler bearing that's bad underneath here. And so it's a non-greasable idler bearing. All the rest of them are greasable, and I keep those in good shape. But that particular one there, it had a certain lifespan. Well, that lifespan stretched from 2004 to 2022. So I guess it stretched for 18 years. We'll get to look at it here in a minute. But if you're like I am, you always your box or your bucket full of spare parts and everything that you accumulate over the years. And take a quick look and see what you might have in there that's going to help you fix things for the day. Now this idler pulley, it's got to be the right diameter. These are bearing towers here. Shafts are still good. Here's a nice spring and a nice, there's your main drive off of another one. Wheels, deck wheels. Here's me boy, I still got the part number on it. That one is about 1/8 of an inch too big a diameter. Here's another one right here. I think that's going to be the exact one right there. This one's way too little. Here's another nice one here. I hope that and there's brand new. Too big. Bearing, housing, too small. Way too small. Another one. That one there might be. It is. That's exactly the same as that one. So I've got two to select. Bearing towers. These are good bearing housings that came out of a Mower deck. Too small. And another one. I've got 3 perfect matches and 1 almost perfect match. If you're wondering why I happen to have so many Cub Cadet parts, I've got a buddy that's a Cub Cadet dealer in town, and every now and then he'll have something thrown off to the side, and I get to go in and salvage some parts and pieces off of it, take the rest to the junkyard. So that's why I end up with a few little extra items of interest, It's gotten me by real good over the years. You're probably wondering why I'm doing this down on the floor, not on the car lift over there with the fancy ramps that I built, for working on four-wheelers and on riding lawnmowers. As luck would have it, unfortunately I've got another dead vehicle inside there. So at any rate, that's a 94 F-150. Mice got in there and did one heck of a deal on the wiring, on the spark plug wires, coil wires, and all the electronics and stuff up under the hood. Not too badly, but bad enough. So that's in the way. I don't want to have to drag it out, then push it back in, just to use the lift for this. I should have grabbed a hold of this whenever I greased the bearings and everything. You take a look, hear that? Hear the crunch, and you see it rocking back and forth. Now, it doesn't sound too bad right there, but once it gets up to RPM, that thing just drives you crazy. But at any rate, it wiggled, jiggled, and lost the nut and the washer off the top of the stud. So that's my bad idler right there. You can tell I'm not as anal about Mower deck service and everything, but I do keep them greased. I don't typically wash them or do a great amount of work to them to store them for the winter. So that's probably just my own shortcoming. Now on your idler arm in here, the one that actually has the heavy spring on it that puts tension on your belt, they'll always have some type of a square hole that'll typically fit a 3/8 inch wrench that you can actually put a ratchet handle on and stretch over to take the tension off so you can actually remove your belt. So what you do when you do that is you can push this all the way over here to where you see that the belt's tension is loose and measure the distance from the edge of the handle in that position all the way over to an immovable portion of the Mower deck. And in this case, it happens to be the bracket that actually holds the front wheel on the Mower deck. So measure that distance and Then make you just a quick, simple little piece of junk board to hold that ratchet handle over there lodged against this. That way you can, by yourself, disassemble that thing. Now you can use anything. I like to use wood because wood has a tendency not to slip and slide on a piece of painted metal or a piece of metal. But I got a V-notch in up there so the ratchet handle will fit in that V-notch, and you can see I've got all the tension taken off of this, which should allow the idler to slip straight up. You can just slide right in here, and unless that's actually stuck onto the stud, which this one is not, should be able just to wiggle jiggle. And with a little effort, pop that right off of there. There we go. Now you can see the stud right here. I'm going to tell you another problem that was inherent with this thing from the time it was new. The Mower decks of all manufacturers are being thinned down. Well, even in 2004, this was thin enough to where whenever you had the belt tension applied to the idler, the deck would actually flex right here, would actually flex the deck. Then the idler pulley would run crooked, and the grooves on the side of the idler pulley, it's kind of got a little hip on the side of it, was chewing into the belt, and literally I would get about 3 grass cuttings, maybe 4 grass cuttings, and it would fray the belt enough to where the belt would either slip or just jump off. When it would jump off, it would just tear itself up among the guards and everything like that. So what I did, I took the Mower deck off way back in about 2006 or something, 2007 maybe at the very latest, and I reinforced it by putting a 1/4-inch steel plate about 4 inches square underneath that portion of the deck and bolted it down with grade 8 bolts around the perimeter, and I've only changed the belt one time since. That was very much an interesting thing to try to figure out. It's like, why is this brand new machine doing this? But it was all because this deck material was flexing. And I started looking at other decks that my buddy had given to me, and many of them have flex cracks in the area of that idler pulley. Assembly is just a reversal of disassembly. Not a big deal at all. Just make sure that you get your drive belts back in alignment on all the shivs that go down to your Mower deck, and then you're golden. So this guy here is back in shape, and it's ready for the wrecking crew, so to speak. The missus will be happy. We had a little bit of rain lately. Might rain a little bit more today, I don't know. But the grass is getting out of control, so she can get out there and get with it. That having been said, this is Tractor Man 44, and I'm out of here, guys.